Today we're talking about how to easily create leads and turn them into paying customers. Thanks for joining me live for those of you who have, and if you're watching from home after, I hope you enjoy this webinar, or if not enjoy it, at least get a lot of value out of it. That's the whole point. For those of you who are with me, feel free to jump into the chat box at any time if you've got any questions or would like me to expand on anything that I'm talking about. So let's get started. So my name is Hayley Barrett. I am a digital advisor with Business Station. I'm located here in sunny Darwin. I think the rest of Australia is underwater and we're just basking in sunlight. So I've been basically, my background is I've been in the web design, marketing, branding industry for a lot of years. I've lost count how many years. And what I really love to do is to create websites that really work for the business. So rather than just creating, something static that ticks a box, it's really about making your website and all of your marketing essentially work to get the results that you're after. So I want to show you just a few things that I consider when I'm doing this. So let's go, we'll jump into, I will share my screen with you and we can follow through on screen. As I said, if you've got any questions that you would like me to answer as we go, do jump into the chat box and let me know. Happy to pause and address those questions as they come up. So, as I said, we're talking about how to easily create leads and turn them into paying customers. Now, when I'm talking about generating leads, now my mouse isn't working. Okay, get the screen to go. Okay, here we go. When I'm talking about generating leads, I'm talking about, in this case, I'm going to be talking more specifically to what happens on site. But I don't want you to ever consider your website separate to your social media or vice versa, or even with SEO. All of these things work harmoniously together, so need to be considered as from a holistic point of view. And when we do it that way, when we are looking at how every piece of our marketing works together, it makes it a lot easier to maintain that consistency and to connect with our customers or our clients. So one of the things that you'll hear me talking about throughout this webinar is different stages of the sales funnel. So these are really, really important, I believe, in understanding. So you understand the content that you're creating and who it's talking to. Where these people are located in your sales funnel. So the different stages, we've got the attract stage, the engage stage, the convert or conversion phase, and also what is considered the delight stage right now. So these are the four main stages. Now, most of what happens in the attract and engage is either when you are working on your socials, but also once you get them to the website as well. The conversion phase is once you've actually connected with the customer, they're ready to purchase. And then the delight stage is when they're already a customer, and then it's about making them an ongoing, a loyal customer, someone who wants to advocate for your brand and support your brand ongoing. So we'll be looking at how those different stages apply to how you create content essentially to get those leads coming in. So if you've done a webinar of mine before, you'll probably hear some of the same stuff repeated, and I do repeat it because I really believe in the relevance of it, in getting this stuff right. It just takes all the hard work out of trying to come up with social media posts and website content and things like that when we have a really clear understanding of our brand and who we are, of what we represent, and who our target clients are. So I'm going to talk more about that now as well. So when I talk about knowing your brand, there's a lot of elements to understanding your brand, to knowing your brand. And if you work with a brand specialist, you know, there's a journey that they take you through for you to get really, really clear on what all of these elements are and what they mean to you. But if it's something that you're doing yourself in your own time and you're just looking for a place to start, understanding your brand identity, I think, is a really great starting place. So you may already have a logo, you might not, you might be in the very initial stages of your business, or you might have already had a brand established for some time. There's a plane flying overhead and it's quite noisy. I apologise if you can hear that and it's distracting. So yeah, you might have had an established brand, you know, an established logo or something like that for some time, but really never had any connection to that, to what that actually stood for yourself. So going back to basics, as I said, it doesn't matter where you are, where you're starting from, whether it's a new business idea, new concept, or you've been doing this for a little while and you just really want to get clear on who you are. So your brand identity, it's more than just your logo, it's the different elements of the brand that represent you. So in that, I'm talking about your colours. So different colours that you resonate with, that your customers resonate with, that you feel is a really good portrayal of your brand values. So, you know, for instance, if you're in the environmental space, you know, like those really earthy colours really resonate with that theme, with that, what that stands for. So you can see the connection there immediately. Another thing that's important in your branding is the different fonts that you would use. So this isn't so much important on social media posts because you have just the standard fonts that the social media platforms come from. But if you're overlaying images or overlaying video, for example, that are used in those posts, it's important to know what type of fonts you're going to use in that. So as soon as someone sees an image with text on it from your business, they're immediately able to identify it as your brand. They know who they're dealing with. And the same applies for your photography and videography as well. Being really clear on the type of style you want to use to represent your business. Hold on one moment, we've got a question. Okay, thank you for that. We just had someone have to jump off due to bad weather. It's crazy, the weather all over Australia at the moment. Okay, so yes, the same applies with the photos that you use and the videos that you use. You know, what type of imagery are you going to use? If you're can't speak now, if you're going to put filters on your photos, you know, what type of filters? You keep that consistency. Instagram's a really great example of using filters. You know, they come with preset filters that you can just apply, using the same filter every time. So people, again, immediately identify that's your business when they see it. So understanding those things. So all of these working in conjunction with each other as well, never separately. The same applies for illustrations or graphics if you're going to use those within your brand, making sure that's consistent across all your different channels as well. And then also understanding this one, if you want to get started and you have to pick, you know, a couple of these things to start with immediately, you're like, I don't know what I want my photography to look like, or I don't know if I want to use illustrations, and that makes it too hard. These are things that you might want to address down the track. But when you're first getting started in these, the key things I think that you should get clear on are your colours, your fonts, and your language and tone that you're going to use as well. So that will really help you define your writing style and the messages that you create. And then the other most important thing as well is the style. Like, you know, with your website, for instance, you know, what represents all of these things combined? How does that work to represent your brand? You know, do you want simple design? Do you want contemporary? Do you want traditional? Do you want a little bit vintage, a little bit classic? You know, do you want fun and vibrant? So knowing these things makes it really a lot simpler to do the next thing, which again my mouse isn't working, is to help you talk to your buyer or your potential customers. And this is where you define your ideal client. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of believing that everyone is their ideal client. And yes, while we may have the ability to service or sell products to every single person, we have a certain group of people who are more likely to do business with us because of certain traits, because of things like our values, what we represent, because of our the problems that we're solving for that customer. These things work to help define that audience. So you find the group of people who resonate with that for you. So how do you know who your ideal client is, what that buyer persona is? Again, you can do exercises on this which take you into a really deep dive to get really, really clear on it. But if you want to keep it simple, just these three things here. So who are they? When I say who are they, I mean, let's say we're talking baby clothes, for example. We're selling baby clothes, okay? Who's going to be more inclined to purchase these baby clothes? So let's say they're mums, new mums. What do the group of mums have in common? Is it about wanting a particular style of baby clothes, a particular type, a particular look, those kind of things. So getting into the psyche of that person, essentially. What are their interests? The same applies as to who they are. What are their interests? Where do they hang out? What do they like? How do they like to spend their time? Understanding this so you can talk to that. You talk to those interests in your messaging. And what problems does your product or service or business solve for these people? So we get really clear on that. And if, let's say you're selling, I don't want to actually go down that path. So using the example of baby clothes, not all mums are going to be your ideal client, depending on the price point of your clothing, for example, depending on maybe fabrics that are being used, depending on the style. If you're selling winter baby clothes, for example, and you've got mums living in tropical climates, they're not going to resonate with that. So these are just very, very broad examples, but you can see that while, yes, your target audience might be mums, you can break it down into further categories that help better define who they are. So you're able to speak to these people directly and create that connection with them and tailor your messaging in a way that, they just identify with immediately. Okay, let's see if my mouse will work this time. All right, so once we've got a bit of an idea about those things, understanding your brand and understanding who your ideal client is, or that ideal buyer, and you may have various segments of clients as well. It's not necessarily just the one type of person who's going to purchase from you or do business with you. You could have specific products that are tailored towards a particular type of group, and then a different product that's tailored more towards this, using the example of outdoor sports. Okay, anyone who's interested in outdoor activity, and when I'm saying outdoor sports, I'm thinking like adventure, like hiking, skiing, a little bit more extreme probably. Anyone who's interested in any of those activities could be your target client, but then you have products that are more tailored towards people who are far more advanced, far more experienced, more risk-taking, as opposed to those who are just starting out perhaps, or just, it's not an everyday activity, it's a once every 6 months activity. So their needs are slightly different. They're not going to be purchasing the high-end gear necessarily as your more extreme sports people are. So that's how that also helps you identify those different target segments that their needs might be slightly different. Okay, so as I said, all of that in mind, how do you actually create content around that? So you know your brand now, or you've got a good starting point on your brand, you've got a good idea of who your buyer is. So let's create content that speaks to them. So when we go online, it doesn't matter if we're watching TikTok, if we're browsing Facebook, if we're immersed in YouTube videos, or if we're, looking on websites, jumping from website to website. We're there for a purpose. There's always some reason behind it. Even if it's subconscious, these are the things that drive our different behaviours online. So we're consuming, these are the four main purposes that we consume content for: education or research purposes, entertainment or escapism even. And then the other one is inspiration or aspiration as well. So you can see, there's a lot of influencers in the social media space, and good or bad, I'm not here to debate that. But the reason they are influential is because they create that sense of inspiration in people or aspiration. So there's a bit of that as well, but not just, inspiring to be like Kim Kardashian, for example, but inspiring to grow your business. That's an example. You might be looking at content that inspires you in that way, that makes you want to, decide to go for a run even, or whatever, things like that. And the other reason that we're online, which is sometimes very much overlooked, is so these are the four reasons that we engage in these platforms. And what we need to understand for our business is, how do we use these reasons to attract and engage? Essentially, that's what we're trying to do. We need to attract and engage them. We need to reach people who are in those stages. So this is where understanding your brand first and foremost is really, really vital, because then you have a better idea of where you want to position yourself in regards to how you deliver content. If your brand is really bright and fun and vibrant and quirky and that kind of thing, having really serious posts and a really serious website is going to be hugely disaligned with what your brand represents. And if you're out there to, if you're putting posts on or content on your website that is more about more research heavy, I suppose, there could be that disconnect as well. So that kind of brand, where it can really stand out and resonate with its customers or would-be customers is, perhaps looking at creating more entertaining posts, more entertaining content that makes people feel good, and then invites them into the business through that doorway. You can use a combination of all of these as well. I'm not saying you just have to be, okay, I'm educating people, I'm always sharing information, I'm always giving my insights into how the world works or whatever. You don't always have to be in that space, but you need to know how you can use these different elements in conjunction with your brand to deliver a message in a way that connects with your customers. But not just connect, we want to connect. That's definitely what we want to do, because when we create that connection, we then invite the customer or the person to come back for more from us, whether that's more on social media or whether that's coming back to our website to find out more about us, or to go that next step and make a purchase or book a consult or whatever it is that we're trying to achieve from getting people onto our website. So think about how your brand is best positioned to deliver messages in regards to the purpose of people being online in the first place. All right, so now that we've understand that, let's have a look at our website. Now, I'm talking website generically here, but this could be a specific landing page as well if you have a particular product or service that is a one-off thing, and you want to get people to purchase that. You could have a landing page dedicated to that. That's kind of sits within your website, but is also separate as well. So this applies to either of those things. So when designing a website, the same as there's a lot of planning. You'll see a lot of planning goes on in this whole process. We've got to know our brand, know our audience, and now we need to know what our objectives are for our website. This is, again, something that I see overlooked time and time again, is websites are treated like information brochures. But websites aren't information brochures. There could be an element of that brochure type style going on with your website where we are informing, going back to that whole education process. It could definitely be that involved in it, but it's not the whole website. That's just a portion of the website. So what we want to define and understand is the main objectives of our website. What do we want to achieve? What do we want when people land on our website? What journey do we want them to take? That's the user journey that we're talking about here. What journey do we want to take them on to get to a certain result? What does that result look like? What's the goal? Is it, if it's an e-com store, perhaps the goal is to, obviously we're going to say we want to get sales, but beyond just getting sales, is it about building brand loyalty? So having a customer who has a life cycle that expands over a number of years. So that could be the goal. We want that person who's coming back on a regular basis to purchase from us. So how do we make that happen? How does the website work to achieve that? And the website, I'll just share this a little bit. There's a lot that goes on beyond the website once you've actually got the customer in that cycle. That's where we go into the delight phase, which I'm not going to talk about today, but I just want you to bear that in mind. It's not separate to your website. So, yeah, understanding that main objective, and it's always, yes, within the objective, we want to make sales. We want to convert into sales. We want to, whether that's getting people to book a call with us if we're a service-based business, or whether it's buying that product. Yes, we do want that. But the objective beyond just that is what we need to consider. And then we look at what problem is being solved. So this is what I do if I'm building a website. Again, go back and consider all of those things we talked about, the brand, what it represents, that brand identity. I'd like to know the brand values as well. And then also understanding the buyer or the potential buyer. And I like to know that because that helps me understand the problem that I'm solving. So that can be, also considered like a unique selling proposition or your USP. You could consider it that way as well. But what it does is it allows you to understand how you're different to the person down the road selling exactly the same product or service. And it also allows you to know how you're going to portray that to your potential customers as well, and your customers. So we talked about the user journey as well, but that's understanding, like I said, the different pieces of the puzzle that all work together to create like a flow-like state for anyone using your website. So it feels like a really seamless, really easy, enjoyable experience, really. That's what we're trying to create on our website. So going from landing on your home page to either booking a call, for example, or signing up for a newsletter or purchasing a product just feels like such an easy experience. When we start creating barriers by links not working or finding information or where to go to next really quite complex, that's when the experience isn't so nice, and that's when we potentially lose customers as well. And when we understand that as well, we also need to understand what the call to actions are. So how do we get people to take that next step all the time? We need to know what they look like for us. Okay, here's some stats for you. I always like stats because I really think they help us define this. They help us define the goals. Okay, so this is taken from Flowdesk. It's from this year as well. So we've got testimonials are really important on our website, and this is about getting people to go to that next step of being able to capture their leads as well. So testimonials, 42% of buyers want more testimonials on websites. They enjoy reading them. They get a lot of information. It helps inform their buying decision as well. We've got a lot of noise out there. One of the things about the internet, it works twofold in that it really levels the playing field. Little guys with little budgets can compete with the big guys with big budgets, which I think is fantastic. But it also means there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses out there taking up that space. So back in the day, when we didn't have online and we were only buying goods and services in our own local environment, the number one driver behind who you shop with was word of mouth. And, what people would say about your business. And I used to work in advertising many years ago, and I remember it was just before Facebook actually took off, and every client that I serviced, 99% of them, the very first thing they would tell me was, we just rely on word of mouth. And there's still a little bit of that around today. Well, testimonials are essentially a word of mouth. So it's that social proof, social reinforcement, it's that advocacy for your business. And having those incorporated on your site, in your social medias as well, really helps when people are still in that attract stage of the sales funnel. So they're not really, they're not overly familiar with your brand, they're not overly familiar with your product, they're not overly sure why they should be doing business with you. They're still in that, as I said, attract stage, very early stages. So that's where testimonials are invaluable in helping them become more comfortable and move from the attract to the engage stage. But it also helps those in the engage stage. It reinforces for them that they're in the right place, and again remove some of those barriers to taking the next step. I've been harping on about value for so long, I feel like a broken record, but the evidence is in the numbers. So 63% of people who shop online or do business online say that if a brand provides content that's valuable, that it's interesting and it's relevant, they're more inclined to develop that loyalty for that brand. And when I talk about value, that's when we go back to what I was talking about here. Education, entertainment, inspiration, and connection. Your potential customers find value through any one of these means or any combination of these means. So that's where it's really important to know who your customer is, so you know how you can provide value, how they want to receive that value. And the numbers don't lie, apparently. 73% of buyers like to view a video or an animation explaining the product or service prior to purchase. So you can see whether you've used the platform or not. You'd be familiar even with the name of it. TikTok, for example, is a really good example of businesses using that platform to feature their product or service. So people can see, get a really good understanding of how is going to enhance their life just through a platform which essentially at its core is entertaining, for entertaining purposes. So you've got a lot of brands using that. Using Instagram is another example, doing the same thing, using their reels to be able to showcase that in a way that is entertaining but also makes people comfortable to want to, find out more about that product. But then also having video on your website, it's again works exactly the same way. So if someone's at that point of purchase, they're ready, they just need that little nudge over. Having a video explainer that takes a lot of the questions out is going to enhance your chance of conversion. Now that being said, not everybody consumes video in that way, and I don't know if you're like me, I still like to read information, and so having the two work in conjunction with each other, I think is a must as well. There's probably a lot going on here. You're probably thinking, well, there's a lot of content to consider and a lot to consider in creating the content. And there is, I won't lie to you, there is. But getting these foundational steps right really does help take that hard work out of it. Knowing your brand is just number one. And also creating video too, I just want to say. When you have that understanding of this is my brand, this is my buyer, this is how I show up every time, this is the content that I deliver, or the type of content I deliver, making a video, you can make a video on your smartphone really, really quickly. Like it doesn't have to be, that's the thing at the moment, glossy and professional finishes aren't necessary in the social media space. Having that that edge to it, the rawness, the authenticity, that really, really speaks to connection. People feel more able to relate to your business. And we're all using our smartphones, so don't think that you have to have the top of the range gear and a full film studio to be able to create video content. I created a video for a client yesterday, and she rang me. I'll just tell you, and obviously I've done it a few times, so I'm a little bit quicker than anyone who hasn't done it. But just to give you an example, this client had shot someone giving a minute speech, and they just wanted to turn it into a video they could put on social media, and didn't really know how to do that. They just wanted to make it a little bit fancy, a little bit more enhanced than just the person speaking. So she rang me and asked me to do it. I created a top for the video. So a top, what I mean is, like the introduction, and I created the end, all of that in Canva, which took me a couple of minutes to do so. And then I stitched it together with the video just using an app on my smartphone. Stitched it together. It took literally less than 5 minutes to do. The hardest part was getting it onto social media because my phone didn't want to send it to anywhere. So then I had to mess around with the technology to make that happen. But technology all working well, it doesn't take that long to make a video, really. So I'm sharing that information with you, not to show how amazing I am at making videos. It was a very, very basic video, but to show you that it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to take all day. It can just take a small amount of time. And when 73% of people are telling you that they want more video, then we need to consider that. And it would be remiss of us to go, well, I just don't know how to do that, or I don't feel comfortable with that, so I'm not doing it. If you want to have a business in the online space, we need to be able to meet our customers where they're at, and this is a really, really important part of it. Okay, went off on a little tangent there. I'll come back. So this is what they want. All right, getting to the nitty-gritty now. Okay, so knowing all of this stuff that we've just gone through, how do you put this together on a website to actually get your leads in the first place? You know, that's what we want to know. So I'm going to show you an example of a couple of websites that do this really well in a moment. But let's just have a look at this, the design structure. So this is whether you're designing a website or whether you're designing a landing page. You know, if you want people to sign up for something specifically, you might just have a landing page, but I would apply the same methodology to either. So the most important page, really, of your website is the first one, the one that people land on. You know, that's generally your home page. Or unless you have different landing pages within the website, but it's always, you know, the one that most people are likely to land on. So we need to, within that, you know how I talked about the different stages of the sales funnel or the workflow. So you've got your attract, engage, convert, and delight. When we design a website, we design it in such a way that it speaks to people in all those different stages without specifically saying, you know, are you ready to convert? We don't have those words in bold across the top, but we design the site in a way that when someone is in that stage, they can easily jump onto the site and go, that's where I need to go to make that purchase, or that's where I need to go. It's really, really clear immediately. So the top section of your website is for those predominantly in the conversion stage. And then that's coupled with subtle, if it's done well, it's done subtly in a way that if you're still a little bit unsure and need more information, it's very easy to go to that next step as well. But it doesn't take away from those who are already in that conversion stage and just looking to buy. As you scroll down the site, the next section or the middle section is generally for those who are in the engaged stage. So these people have some familiarity with your business. They might have been engaged with you through social media. They might have been told about you by a friend. They know about you. Somehow or other they've engaged with you in some way, but they just haven't got enough information or enough trust yet that they're ready to just jump in and purchase. So they need a little bit more nurturing, a little bit more information. So as we scroll down the site, that's where we do that. We tell them about the features and benefits. We tell them about how we solve their problem, that kind of thing in that stage. We're just breaking down those barriers slightly every step of the way. And then the bottom section of a page or a site is for those really who are still in the attract stage. So they're looking at the top, they're going through your page, you know, and they're wanting more information. So they've gone, okay, this is, once they land on the page, they can see who you are and, you know, how they just have to do this to get to do business with you. They get a little bit more information about you, feel that bit more comfortable as they go through, scrolling down through the middle section. But they're still not convinced. So they're still looking for, tell me more, tell me more. So the bottom section is tailored to that. It's a lot more chunkier, more information that speaks to those people in that, in the attract stage. So let me, if I can bring this up. I'm just going to show you an example of someone that does this well, or a business that does this as well. All right, so here I have Xero, accounting software. It's business, but better. Okay, I'm not going to talk all about this website, but I just want to show you, use it as an example to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here, as someone who's familiar with Xero, who's in business, knows that I need accounting software and actually, sorry, let's go. I'm talking to the converter stage. So you see up the top here, we've got the ability to try Xero for free or to log in. This is for people who are ready to go. I already know that I want to do it and I'm just jumping in. Same as here, these buttons in the centre here. We've got plans from $27 per month and learn what Xero can do. So you can see how it's predominantly tailored for those in that conversion stage or the delighted stage, even for those who are already doing business with them. It's easy to log in. But if I need that little bit more information, it's very subtly included here, but it doesn't take over the whole banner. As I scroll down the page, you can see here, simplify everyday business tasks. The language that they're using, it's really talking to, well, this is how I read it. I don't know, you know, I'm not sponsored by Xero and I don't work for them, so I don't know if this is what they're doing, but this is how I read it, is that business people are busy. You know, we're really busy, and accounting and looking after our books is really overwhelming for a lot of people. And what Xero's done is basically, even in the different colours it uses, in the fonts that it uses, the wording that it uses, it's really talking to that busy person. It's just like, hey, we're here to make your life easier. We know business. We know what we're doing. Just, you know, we can help you out. That's the impression I get when I look at this website, when I consider all the different elements. That's how it speaks to me. So as I scroll down the page, you know, because I'm still not sure if I do want to try Xero for free, or if I want to look at the plans yet, I can go and learn more about what it actually does. So this is the engage stage, right? So it gives me that little bit more information. I can send invoices, reconcile, pay my bills. Yeah, it does all of that. Here's a little bit of advocacy around why it's awesome. Like, you know, they've won awards, so that's good to know. They must be pretty good if they're winning awards. But then it also goes down, it breaks into for the different customer segments. So you've got here, like they've got two users. You've got your self-employed, and then you've got your accountants as well. And it's really tailored towards making life easier for the self-employed, but you need your accountants on board as well. So there's a lot of content that's available for accountants and bookkeepers that the self-employed people don't need. So you can see how it speaks to those two different customer groups. And it just also reassures me that I can access this at any time on any device. It really is here to make my life easy. Then you can see, this is what we're talking about, testimonials and social proof, and also talking to those people in the attract stage. So they're like, okay, you still need that little bit more reassurance. Over 3 million people use Xero. Okay, we'll share it. Like, just by having that simple statement makes me feel, okay, so 3 million people are using it. It must be pretty good. So it's just working to busy that little bit more without being in my face. And then when we get to the bottom, I click into here and read customer testimonials as well. And then it's like, okay, are you convinced yet? Basically, all right, we've given you all the reasons. We've talked to the people in all the different stages now. Just no obligation, just start using Xero for free. You get to have a taste of it. You get to see how it will make your running your business so much easier, free up so much time in your life. And if you've ever done your books, you know how time consuming they can be if you're doing it manually. It's awful. So while I'm not sponsored by Xero, I do quite like Xero for managing my own books. I think once it's set up properly, it does really simplify your life a lot. And it also helps keep you on you can see your cash flow and your P&L and all those important numbers that you need to look at. You can see it on the go. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Xero. So this is also, once you get to the bottom, how they've then used this lead capture form here to go, okay, maybe you're not convinced, but just try it for free. So give us your email, we'll set you up an account, you can try it for free. And then by doing that, they've now captured your details and you become a part of like their nurture campaign essentially. So you continue to get updates from them via email, which talks about support and different ideas that you can use to make your life easy. But we can't do any of that without getting the lead details in the first place. So let's go back to my screen. Let me know if you want me to explain anything further about that. But that's just, I just really like the Xero website because I think it really encapsulates all of what I'm talking about here. It just does it well. So it knows the different stages, the convert, engage, attract, even the delight phase. It knows that. It knows where to, or not it, this organisation knows where to place its content elements in a way that speaks to the people in those different stages. It knows who its audience is. It knows what their pain points are. And you can see that through, as I said, the simplicity of the site, simple use of colour, the font type they use, the use of language. So they've just combined everything I'm talking about to create a site that flows so easily, just flows nicely. It doesn't feel like hard work to go from what's this business about to how do I do business with them. And when you're designing the inside pages of your website as well, so even your about page, you've got services, things like that, remember to lay it out with this core methodology in mind. Giving people who are ready to buy the information they need to buy, giving people who need a little bit more information the chance to see that little bit more information, and then giving people who still need to do more research the opportunity to do that as well without making it a really cumbersome experience for them. And if you're giving too much information, if you think about the Xero site, let me just take you back to show you this. If you consider the Xero site here, as I said, as we go down, we're talking more to those in the engage stage. But it doesn't overburden you with information. It tells me very simply, it sends invoices, does reconciliations, etc. But if I still need more information because I'm still in that early stage of attraction, I can just click into that and I can find out that information really easily. So the person who just wanted to see if it had these basic features that it needed before it was ready to commit was able to see that at a glance without having to go through all of this information that is really designed for those who are in the attract stage. All right, I think I've gone on about that enough. Let's go to the next stage here in the webinar because time is moving. All right, so we understand that that's how to very simply design a site that's tailored towards gathering leads and converting. So also, in regards to what I was talking about and using that Xero site as reference, it's really important to visually prioritise your key elements. Like I said, so most important info is big and demands attention. So yeah, like you could see over here, like the very first thing that you see on the Xero screen when you open that page is, it's accounting software, but it's business, but it's better. That's prominent front and centre. So it tells me immediately when I jump in there that this is exactly where I need to be, and I know it simplifies my life just because it pretty much just told me there. So that was really big and bold on a blue background, front and centre as soon as I opened the page. And using the blue background, as I said, so using colour as a tool for organising your content as well. So it's just easy to navigate through, easy for the eye to flow across the site as well. Too much colour or too much white space or empty space makes it really, really challenging to read. So using that combination of colour and white space or empty space. Also using those call to action buttons. So we looked at that on Xero as well. You know, you can try it for free, you can log in here, you can learn what Xero can do for you, you can see what our plans are. These are all call to action buttons and they're all tailored towards the customer. It's not about, that's again, and using language well, like it's, you know, learn what Xero can do for you, as opposed to being more about, you know, you can often see buttons or call to actions that, you know, read more about us or learn more about us, or, you know, it's not, people really want to know what's in it for them. So we tailor our language in a way that people feel like you're talking to them directly. And remember natural scanning patterns of the website as well, or how we take in information. So keeping your elements laid out in a way that it's easy for the eye to scan across the site, and taking all the key points without working too hard for it. Okay, so that's the framework for creating leads, for how you create leads, getting those things right first. Now, once you've got that, we want to, you know, use lead capture or lead magnets to engage people even further. So what lead capture is, what we're talking about, is people trading their information for your information, essentially. So that is in the form of lead capture forms or lead capture pages. Also, live chat or chatbots as well is another great way that you can get people to exchange email for more information, and checkout pages. So when people actually make a purchase, you capture their information as well. Now, leads, of course, done properly, the person signing up needs to consent to you continually emailing them or sending out emails or whatever. But the whole idea of it is it creates that familiarity with your brand. You know, so when we do use social media, we often consume it quite passively. When we capture somebody's email address, it allows their interaction with us becomes more active. So by landing in their inbox, they choose whether they're going to click on us or not, and they choose whether they're going to engage with us. If we do all the things that we previously spoke about right, if we provide that value, if we give them the expectation of this is going to be really informative for you, or this is going to be really fun for you, or this is going to make your day better, or this is going to build your networks even. If we meet those expectations for them, if they know that we do, they're going to be more inclined to click on that email. So we take, as I said, the consumption from passive to active through capturing their information. So that's where lead capture forms work really well. So that's the lead capture, where we actually get their email address. And the way that we do that is with a lead magnet. Okay, so that is in the form of a free offer. So it could be, you know, sign up to get this free ebook, or sign up to join this free webinar, or sign up for a free hat, whatever it is. It's the same. That's the magnet. It's something you're giving something for free in return for that email. Another great lead magnet is a loss leader. So that could be, again, you know, like providing a webinar like we're doing right now for free. So encouraging people to sign up for it. It gives people a taste of what they would expect from doing business with us. And it's taken, you know, there's been no expense on my behalf except time. So it's like you're quite willing to go, okay, I'm willing to give this time in return for hopefully, you know, this leading to more sales. That's not actually the point of this webinar, by the way, but that's how it can be used in this regard. So that's a loss leader. It could be also, you know, offering, if you're a product-based business, you might have, I don't know, you might get people to sign up for a free hat or a discounted rate on something with the idea that they become a customer or in your nurture campaign as such, with the hope that they will keep buying from you. Or it could be, you know, a loss leader could be, you know, no, yeah, they're good enough examples. I think I'll leave it there. Again, it could be a discount. It could be like sign up to get $20 off your next order. That's another example of a magnet that works. And discount is a really, really interesting topic of conversation. I think there's a lot of different talk around what discounts, how to use discounts in your business, what it means for your brand. I don't know where you're tuning into this webinar from today, but today is Black Friday and Monday is Cyber Monday, which is a relatively new thing, very American thing or US-based thing, which has become a global sales event, essentially. So you see a lot of big brands jumping on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, having massive sales, massive discounts. And I'm sure, you know, personally I'm not a shopper, so I don't buy into that myself, but I'm sure for anyone who does, and especially given it's a month before Christmas, you know, there's that opportunity to get great discounts. So it creates a buying frenzy. And they know they don't know specifically that I'm not their ideal customer, but they're not targeting their marketing towards someone like me. They're targeting towards those people they know fall into their buyer persona who are going to jump on those discounts, who are going to get excited about that. Now that can be quite conflicting for small businesses, small local-based businesses that really don't have the buying power for one, or the opportunity to have these big sales, to provide these big discounts. You know, there's not enough margin. So, so I don't know if you've seen this today. I'm just bringing this up because it is really relevant today. There's a lot of small businesses banding together across Australia, choosing to boycott Black Friday. And this is something that's really important to consider for your business, your brand, where you sit for you. And this goes back to knowing your brand, your customer, and your values. Because if you are thinking, I need to be discounting when I don't have the money, then you go, okay, this also helps me identify who my ideal customer is, what my brand's about, because that doesn't sit well with me. I don't want to discount, but this is how I'm going to still stand out, still build my business in a way that doesn't have to incorporate that. So I hope that makes sense. I think you may or may not be familiar with them. Buy from the Bush, which is a group representing small businesses, started to help farmers during the drought a couple of years ago. We're certainly not in a drought right now, but it started from there. So it's really about a platform providing small businesses the opportunity in these rural communities to sell their goods through that platform, which was a great opportunity. And they're basically, with a large following, are advocating this very thing that I'm talking about, are advocating that. So you can see it's creating a movement all of its own. And if your brand aligns with that, then yeah, maybe jump on and have a look at Buy from the Bush. Okay, so again, I go off on tangents, but I just thought I think that is really important for small businesses to remember. You don't have to discount, and I certainly myself do not advocate that I like to consider how we can add value as opposed to reducing our margins. And another lead magnet can be, valuable insights. So that could be, and when I say valuable insights, I'm talking more about the, getting people to sign up for a newsletter to receive information from you that's relevant. You might be someone who likes to share recipes, for example. You might be selling homewares and you like to cook. So sharing recipe ideas with your target audience is a great way to get people to join your community, to sign up to receive those. That's going to be really valuable to somebody who's in your target audience group who enjoys cooking as well. So that's a couple of examples of different lead magnets. I'm mindful of time, so I'm going to wrap this up. So that looks like, again, I've pretty much just shared all of this, but yeah, the same thing. It can be gated content, so signing up to a course or to material that you can only access as a member or part of the community, that's considered gated content. Freemium product or free trial, like I was talking about with Xero, offering the first month for free. That's another way to get people to sign up. If you have a business that can be tailored around that, it's a really great way to invite people into your business without being really salesy. And offer incentives, and I've talked all about that really, and getting people to sign up for your newsletter through offering those valuable insights or information. Now here's a couple of examples of how this is done relatively well on different websites. And I've just taken different websites from different industries. So I've got e-commerce, retail, Xero, which is professional, accounting, which is software. And then the other one I'm going to show you is a service-based business. So if you can see this, and I hope you can, the Iconic, which is an online retailer, this is how they've used these lead magnets to encourage people to capture their details. So when you first go onto the website, this is the banner section. You can see they're advertising Black Friday. So these are the bigger groups that I was talking about who very much behind driving this kind of thing. But that aside, you can see this lead magnet down here. So you've got $20 off your next order, over $99. Just sign up there. So it's really subtle. That little box there sits in the bottom right-hand corner of the Iconic website as you scroll through. So it's always there. It's not in your face. It's not in the way, but it does stand out. And it's like as you're going through, if you're not, if you're still in that attract or engage stage, that's a really good incentive to sign up. Because you're going to get $20 off, and that's an opportunity for Iconic to then continue marketing their specials, their discounts, all of those things to you ongoing to encourage that continual patronage. The other thing that they do, another lead magnet or a lead capture, is up in the top right-hand corner. You might be able to see, and this only pops up as you scroll through. So again, how I was talking about the top section being for converted, the middle section for engaged, and the bottom for attract. When you first land on the website, this top box doesn't show. It's only as you scroll through the site. So this is how they're identifying, okay, we still need to give these people need that little bit more encouragement to go to that next step. So this box here, I hope you can read it. It's a little bit far away from my eyes, but basically it says, are you new here? Get up to $75 off your next, get up to $75 off your first Iconic order. So they've recognised, okay, we need to, give these people that little bit more encouragement. They're still scrolling through the site. They're still trying to figure out whether they want to do business with us. Here's a reason that you should. And again, knowing who they're talking to, where they're at in the sales funnel, the very question is, are you new here? Yeah. So they know that that they know what stage of the life cycle you are simply by, of the sales funnel, simply by how you're scrolling through the website. Xero, we've already talked about, but it's just another really great example of having that lead magnet. So first thing I see on the website, their main colour scheme is blue, and then they've got this green button which stands out because of the difference in colour, and it tells me to try Xero for free. And once I click that button, it's going to ask for my email address and my details, obviously, because I need to sign up for the account. But that's how it uses that lead magnet. All right, this is the next example, which it's a great example because it is for service-based businesses, which are, the way that we engage with service-based businesses is different to how we do with e-commerce. There generally is a little bit more research involved, a little bit more going on in that attract and engage stage before we're ready to convert. We need to build rapport, we need to build trust, we need to get this, we need to understand and feel safe and confident that by engaging with this person as a service, I'm going to get value for money out of that. So there's a little bit more involved in making that happen than just a retail site. Well, not just a retail site, but a retail site. Okay, so this person here is an online marketer. She's very good. She's in the US. Now, her website, when you go to her website, it's really very, very story-based. It's really inviting you into, hey, find out more about me, and how I can work with you to get you the results that you want. Here's a little bit about my personality. So she's really identified, and her name is Jenna Kutcher. You can look it up if you like. She's really, she's understanding her brand, and she's really using her brand voice, all of those things we talked about, to connect with her customers through the way her website's laid out. You can see it's a really great example of it. Now, as we scroll down through her website, we get to this section which they're freebies, basically. So we read a little bit about her. She's got a couple of other lead capture through the site. But then we get to this section, which are free downloads. So 5 must-have apps to rock Instagram. So if you're, a small business who's trying to figure out how to use social media marketing, which is really her audience, then of course you're going to want that. You want to know how to rock Instagram. You want to know how to grow your Instagram following. So she's identified that, and here, jump in, and I'll give you access to these 5 must-have apps. She's then got get my 3 free editing presets. So she was a photographer back in the day. So if anyone's familiar with Lightroom, taking photos and editing them in Lightroom, you have the option of presets. So she's actually created some that she's giving away for free. So it's a really great way to, one, as I was saying, like giving away that free content in exchange for the email, but also inviting people to learn more about her business and how she operates her own business and how you can transfer that across to your own as well. So it's all the while building that connection, building that trust, that confidence. So that's the first step in this lead magnet, so it's very unintrusive as well. And then once we get there, so we click onto this, and then it tells me I can edit my photos effortlessly with these presets, just send them to me now. And you click the button, put your email in, and away you go, done. So those are 3 very different examples of lead capture and lead magnet use on your website. But you can see none of those would work if we didn't do the first steps that we talked about, which was knowing your brand, knowing your audience. Oh yeah, this one's really important. Always remember that the website is about your customer, it's not about you. It's not an information piece about, it's got to be engaging for the customer. That really needs to be about meeting their pain points, solving their problems, how your business is positioned to be able to do that. So all of your language needs to be around how you solve that problem for the customer. So we're at the end of this webinar on creating leads and turning them into customers. Now, I told you this wasn't a sales pitch, and it's not. But if you are interested in learning more, working with a mentor in your business, then Business Station does give you 7 hours of personalised business mentorship. It's a program, Digital Solutions, which is funded through the federal government. So you get 3 hours face-to-face with an advisor here in either the NT, WA or Queensland. We talk about social media, digital marketing, websites, e-commerce, all the online security stuff that we need to know now. We can help you with understanding and using business software as well. If you're interested in that program, it's only $44 and you can sign up through our website, which is businessstation.com.au. Thank you for taking the time to join us live today. I am Hayley Barrett. Again, I'm a digital advisor with Business Station, and if you can tell from this, very passionate about, I don't know if I say passionate, get a lot of enjoyment out of building websites that actually get results. So thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.